See you in a few minutes. Let me get my desk squared away here. Pour a cup of tea. There we go. Move the camera. Da, da, da. Top of the morning to you. The wheeling and dealing cornfield. You make me laugh, Bob. You make me laugh. Rise and shine. I mean paint. Hey, getting ready to come on here. 1 second. I'm pouring a cup of tea. I promise that's me pouring tea. Okay. Keep a little thermos up here in my studio, up in the attic. That's where I've been sequestered off to. Just kidding you. Hey, let's open the show. Here we go, right here. Ready? Boom. Hey, top of the morning to you. I'm Michael, as the grandkids call me Ruth. Thanks for being on. It's Saturday morning. I think it's April 17th. Holy smokes, April 17th, 2021. Looks like you made it. A year ago, we were right in just the first beginning days of this. I started in the last part of March, just coming on live and doing a live stream and throwing out watercolor and paint and ideas and goofing off and being Badeau. Okay, there's a French word for you. I'm going to paint the word here in just a second. Being Badeau, B-A-D-O-T, it's pronounced B-A-D-O-H, Badeau. It's silly. Just being silly with watercolors, because whimsical is silly. And then lo and behold, you guys jumped on. You made it a community. You began Roost Crew. You started posting artwork. You started saying, I'm afraid of watercolor. Some did. And I said, don't be afraid of watercolor. Are you afraid of water? Or are you afraid of color? And then we have developed. This is day 240. If you count the auction, and I went an hour and a half, I looked back and went, what were those people thinking? So if you count the auction, this is hour 248. So 248 days I've sat at this desk and come at you through this camera, and this one here I did up here. This wasn't a Caesar up. So here's the shot this morning that you'll see of my desk. There it is right there. There's the word Badeau, B-A-D-O-H. B-A-D-O-T is, of course, how it is spelled. It's the first letter in this more weird and wonderful words. For those of you who've just joined me new, I painted all of these words, not all these words. I painted every page of this book. Of the old book, the first book. And by the way, I got to tell you, on my birthday, thank you for all the cards and notes. You don't have to do that, but I know you wouldn't do it unless you wanted to. And I'm blessed every day. I open the mailbox and I'm going like, come on, people. Thank you. And your creative cards. The hummingbirds have returned, and they felt comfortable enough today. One did. They're so territorial. One actually sat down and sat there for over 52 seconds because I put the clock on him. And not that I'm OCD or whoever. I just love to see when they sit, because that means that they're not worried, they're fresh, they're returned before anybody else. Like, I got here first and I get the fresh nectar. I don't put a dye in it. It's just sugar water. It's 4-to-1 if you ever want to make your own. Don't go out and buy that commercial stuff that looks like pancake syrup in a jar. So when they take a sip of it, they go, it's like after you eat 12 pancakes and then you say, hey, could you cut your grass? And you see you laying behind the lawnmower in the yard, right? So the hummingbirds are back. Badeau is the word. Did I just take a trip there? I think I did. That's what happens when you're fast brain, people. Thank you, Dr. Jim Poole, he's my friend over in Raleigh who has a company called Fast Brain. It's his medical profession, and he's written a book called Flipping ADHD on Its Head. See, I can't even say it right. All right, let me say hello here because you guys are popping on like crazy. It is Saturday, so what I'm going to talk about today, I promised, is and I added silly. I added Badeau. So B-A-D, not the bidet. There's a big difference between a Badeau and a bidet. And if you don't know the French meaning of that, then go look it up when the show's over. Okay, I stay out of the bathroom humor. Trust me. So Saturday, though, today is going to be simple. And it's going to be small. So I'm going to do some small works here. And it's always a tad silly because I like whimsical. I like things that bring humor to people. I like things that connect. How about a little water music here from Handel? The pump don't work because the vandals took the handle. Fern Skelly, thanks for being on the show this morning very early. Sally, thank you for being on the show. Sally Rowe it is. Tamberly Marie. Bob Hendricks says, morning from the Wheeling and Dillon cornfields of Iowa. I squeaked a few more bucks out of Bob on the Wednesday night auction because he had put $33 up for every bid that came on. It would say, Bob, $33. And it got to be funny. And I love humor and repetition. It got to be funny because Bob had also, we started the show saying, hey, if I were to get $6 for every painting I had there, I would have walked off and smiled and said, okay, I've got some friends who are going to be hanging my art in their home. But you guys, so I'd say, let's start it at $6. And then the bids would start happening. It was a crazy night. And people are going back just to watch the show to go, I did what? And a couple of you sent me notes saying, I must have got caught up in it. I bid how much for something? And so anyway, but thank you so much. Some of you who connected, Jason, I've had an email back and forth to you. If you're on the show this morning, I think you may be. I haven't seen all the names yet, but I'm going to send you a little something else for your students. And so I'm going to try to sweeten those envelopes for you. I am so grateful. We're going to take a portion of that and send 3 kids to camp this summer. We're going to take the other portion of it, and I'm not going to tell you what we're going to do. I might buy a new paintbrush. I have one here. All right, so here we go. Let me say good morning, Bob. So thank you from Wheeling Deal, and you were part of that, man. Bob up to us 33 to 50 bucks, and I wanted to sell it to you for 33. Trish Brown, thank you for being on the show. Kim Sheets, rise and shine. Rise and paint. Barbara Mayer, thank you. Good morning, voice is awake. Yes, I can still reek into it, but it does. In fact, I'm working on a project now that's a voiceover for a product, and so they said, well, could we hear your voice? I go, well, you're listening to it. Okay, so they go, okay. Karen Pikert, thank you for being on the show. There he is. Jason Nichols, thanks for being in New Jersey. Not being in New Jersey, thanks for being on the show from New Jersey. Shanlin Martinez, thank you for your note. And Rosie BG, Kim Miles says, wake up, it's mighty early on the left coast. Yes, it is, and I am sorry for that. But if I waited until you guys got up out on the West Coast, I would have already missed cutting my grass. And today I'm off to see a friend for lunch who I haven't seen in 42 years, maybe. 42 years, haven't seen him. He and I worked together. He went to the College of... I think he went to Northwestern, and I went to the North Pasture. But we worked great together and respected each other's different learnings and educations from the farm to the field to the and so it's going to be fun to visit with John today. I haven't seen him in a long time. He's living in Minnetonka right now, and I'm not driving up there, but we're meeting halfway. He's actually in Charlotte, and I'm meeting part way. So, Kim's, thanks for being on the show. Lori Stanley Handelmeyer Henderson, thanks for being on the show, always from Chile, Ohio. I've actually been to Ohio, and I was served chili at a camp one time. It was 97 degrees, and the cook came out and said, hey, today, would you like a bowl of chili? And I go, no, get back in there and fix me a cold-cut sandwich, for heaven's sakes. So I was consulting at the time, so I could speak like that. Randall Taylor Craven, thank you for being a part of the auction. Dorothy Beasley, 40 degrees in the foothills of North Carolina. Woohoo! Renee Cummings, always good to see you on the show. It's Diane. It looks like Gregory from Rhode Island. Thanks for being on the show. And Dolores, I'm not going to go through all of these. Dolores, thank you. Pat Brooks, always love having you on the show, my friend. Pat and I someday are going to our Pat and Peter and Michael and Carol, our husbands and wives. We're going to just meet someday when all this clears out, and maybe we'll have to just meet in sunny Florida. Maybe you can come a little bit north, and we'll come south to Mole Stomping Grounds of Ponte Vedra, and we'll go to dinner together, and we'll laugh about a year of working on a project together and still not having it see the sun, but it's coming, okay? Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle is the book, and it's got, like we're going to talk about the book this morning, use what you have to paint a painting, okay? June Jones says, woo, it's paint day. Atlanta Couch, Mary McNitt, it is McNitt. Mary, thank you from Westerville, Ohio. I have no idea where that is, but I assume it's east of Easterville, Ohio. So I'm glad you're on the show. I hope you enjoy it. Teresa Emmerich, Alice Durham, Skeeter Powell says, I'm on my way to Charlotte. Dude, give me a call. I could be off on a lunch, but if I'm close by, I'll say hi at least via. Skeeter is our friend from Greenville, South Carolina. Ann Westra, thank you for being on here. From Minnesota, the land of pop. That's where they drink pop. Werner's Ginger Ale. And here's Deborah Springer from Duluth. Man, all you guys are up north up there. Get out of there. It's frozen. Okay. Pat Normandale, thank you for being on the show. Ruth Ann Cody, Kristen Fowler, appreciate your note. Denise Albright, Suzanne Peters, golly, Susan DeLay. It just keeps on happening. Sherry Bullard, Michelle, thank you for being on the show. And I owe you a roux. Michelle happens to be a part of the cooking class that my wife teaches, and well, I think she teaches it. She has a blast. It's a party, I think. And this week was the tea party. I posted something. Michelle posted a bunch of pictures on her Facebook page, which looked like Southern living. Thank you. Made the house look great, and I didn't do anything. Except I did go down to clean dishes and realize you had washed a lot of them already. And I went, oh my gosh, I still got in bed at midnight after washing those dishes, but I owe you a painting. I know you didn't do it for pay. You didn't do it for that. You did it because you and my wife are dear, dear friends, but appreciate you. Florentina Lady Di, thank you. Jeanette Seal. All right, so let me jump into this and get going here. Man, thank you. Hey, look, I'm scrolling down all the way to the end of my bloop, 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 little pieces. And Susie, I'm sorry you missed the auction too. Found out late. And I will have another one. I'll have another one if it's just for, I'm telling you, for fun. In fact, I may have a bunch of birds to auction off because I've been painting birds. I'm a little wired this morning because it's Saturday morning. Hey, I'm going to answer two, maybe three, but two questions this morning. And I get to choose the question. If you got a question, you say, hey, wonder what Roo does this, or does Roo do this, or did Roo do that, or did Roo and Carrie, it can be personal. It can be, I can choose to answer it or not. So ask me anything you want to ask, and I'll choose a couple questions to just answer as I go through this morning. And let me just warm up here with a little silly painting from Badot. Okay, so here it is. B-A-D-O-T is the word in this book. More weird and wonderful words. Why do I use this book? For those of you who don't know, if you hadn't been with me in 247 days, it's this reason right here. Let me change the headshot here. Boing. There it is. All right. So here it is. Here's why I don't. Here's why I repeat things, because some of you come in new. Here's why I paint out of this book. I just wanted something that would make my mind connect to something that I needed to paint. No, not needed to paint, could paint, should paint, to push myself creatively to connect. Remember this, it's in the book. Everything, that's three everythings. Put it to the 10th power, I don't care. Everything can be fodder or should be fodder for a story. You can connect everything. Everything on my desk should be connected to a story. These little anvils. This little can right here that says can of clips. Not can of chips, but can of clips. These are those little bitty clothespins. But guess what I found out? I found out when you use all of the, when you use all the chips up in here, clips up in here, and put them on little watercolor pieces. I don't see one of those. They're tiny little clothespins is what they are. Here, visualize this. 10 times smaller, and that's what you get. When those are all gone, 24 little wooden clips, I found out that my tea bags from Builders fit right in there. So I'll stack 6 of those up in there, put the lid on tight like this, throw it in my 511 bag, okay, which is my little bailout bag that has my bailout bag in it, okay. It's inside there. There's the bag that has all my pens and paint, and I slide my paper in there, throw it over one shoulder. I'm ready to go, okay. If I want to jump out on the picnic table, if I want to sit down in a coffee shop, if I have a business meeting and the guy's late, whoever in the company, they say they'll see you in 20 minutes. I go, 20 minutes? Well, I can have a painting done by then. So that's what I do. So use what you have. Everything is fodder. So I use this book to connect my storytelling. Let me give you an example right here. Let me just find a pen. I'm going to go with this. Let's see if this pen is writing this morning. There it is. This is a Lamy, Lamy, L-A-M-Y. It's a German fountain pen. Look, this pen I've had for 3 years. It never drips. It's easy to put a cartridge in. It's lightweight. It has a nice little feel here. I love this pen. In fact, I would probably own the fine point of this pen, but I use a Pilot for that, which is this one and this one, ultra fine and fine. And we'll talk about pens too. But Bordeaux is a rare or obsolete adjective. It's an obsolete adjective. Of course it is. Nobody goes around talking, oh, that's so Bordeaux. But I like those words every now and then, because in Roosterville, those are silly and they're whimsical. So, it's from a French word meaning a gapping idler, just a silly person, someone who just says ha 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 and goes on. So I'm thinking a roux that looks like this would be really silly. And I didn't think about this until just now. This wasn't where my brain went when I opened the book this morning, but this will give you an idea of how this should do. You should be able to open this book, look at a word, or open the encyclopedia and look at a word. If you still are like Pat Brooks and you still keep your copy of the 1961 World Book Encyclopedia, just find a subject in there to paint on. That'll be perfect. And Pat, I pick on you all the time because you have confided to the group that you do have your, and I had my, I think yours are 1960 or they're in the 60s. You know, mine were red, not they were R-E-D, not R-E-A-D. They should have been R-E-A-D because of where I went to elementary school. I pick on the school today, but you know that school is doing great. It's won awards. It's called Bluegrass Elementary School outside Knoxville, Tennessee. Oh, if they could see me now, the guy they sent out to say, just get him out of the class, send him out to dust the erasers. And so there was a big rock, and I went, I don't want to walk all the way down to that field to dust the erasers on that rock when I've got this brick school that I could dust and write words on the side of the school with dust. Whoops. They weren't bad words, though, because my mom taught me better than that. Mama Joe, we called her Mama Joe. My dad's name was Shirley. You figure it out. So you wonder why this guy's a nutcase. There it is. My mom was Joe. My dad was Shirley. See what I love painting on these, I love painting over these words like this. And hey, I got a new color. I want to try it right now. Here we go. Let me introduce a new color to you. Ready for this? See, I'm ADD. I can do that. I bought 2 new colors this week while I ran by Cheap Joe's. Here's one of them. It's called, ready for this? It's called quinachrome dome gold. Okay, like quinoa, quinachrome, but it's Q-U-I-N-A-C-R-I-D-O-N-E. Quinachrome. It's like that commercial. Have you seen it about quinoa? Okay, so it's Q-U-I-N-A-C-R-I. And I've used to have a lot of these colors. Lucky Penny is made by this, it has the same thing. These are American Journey colors. It's really dark looking, and I'm going to see what it looks like right here. I squeezed out just a touch of it right here. It says gold, but it looks like brown oxide to me. But I'm putting a little bit of water on this bamboo brush. I'm picking it up, and I'm pulling it in, and I'm going to lay a little bit right in here, and I think I'm going to like it. Yeah, I think I'm going to care for it. See it right there? Comes in. It's a little darker, but there's also another color right here. This color is called Buff. You ready? Buff Titanium. buff titanium. And what I thought it was in my mind when I saw it was French gold with a touch of yellow in it. And I think I'm going to be close. So every now and then I'll introduce a new color. Whether I like it or not, it's worth being there. I picked up spring green just recently. Ooh, I'm going to like this color right here. This is going to be a good roux color for me right there. I've got my pan in the way, but all right. So got a couple questions coming in. Anybody? Hey, look, if you send me a question this morning, you want me to jump on a question, just put a couple question marks in front of it, or put one near it so I can find it. Because, Terry Tardy says, all right, when did your relationship with Jesus begin? Well, that's right out of the Buffalo chute. When I was 6 years old. How about that? Grew up in a little Baptist church where the guy would get a red face and jump about this high, and it was pretty fun. But he had a dear heart, and came to my house one day for lunch, and I liked who he was, and I liked him, and he seemed to be interested in what I was interested in, and so it wasn't that I grew up in a church that was conversion by concussion. You know what that is? I'll beat you over the head with something until you go, okay. It wasn't that at all. It was a guy who showed interest in me and said, well, did you do that? You know, even when I was 5 and 6 years old, and I'd be out driving nails, and my dad was a contractor, and he was a Dutchman, and his name was Rory. Boy, I remember this. See, Roy Vandergriff. And so he was interested in me. And so it had a lot to do with later about relationships with people, and how important people are. Probably still affects me today. It's probably why I do this show, because people are really important. And art's important. And so I have found a love of putting people together with art. And so that's a great question. So it started when I was about 6 years old. Just walked down the little church aisle one night and said, I think that's good. So there you go. So if you get to the East Coast, quinacridone done. Yeah, Renee says quinacridone. It's like why would they call it that? Why don't they just call it, hey, it looks like orange? When I do the roux colors, you guys are going to love them. It's going to be roux. It's going to be redhead roux. It's going to be tail feather blue. It's going to be Terry Tardy turquoise. It's going to be beak yellow. It's going to be blacker than the inside of a cow, black. I'm going to come up with you got it. It's going to be purple haze and deeper. It's going to be spring cleaning green. I'm going to come up with my whole set of colors someday. Fun parents' names. I wonder if any other guys are named Shirley. I don't know. My dad wasn't too happy about it at the time, but it grew on him and it was funny. And the fact that my mother's name was Margaret, but he called her Joe. So all the grandkids called her Mama Joe. So we referred to her as Mama Joe when we were goofing around. We called her Mama in the South, but Mama Joe. And so it was kind of fun. So, but my dad, so I'd go to school and they would say, we need your parents' name. And I'd say, okay, Shirley and Joe. And so the teachers would go, oh, great. Well, this Shirley, I have my sister's name Shirley. And I go, no, Shirley's my father. And they would go, come on. Tell us, no, just stop. You're funny. You're trying to make a joke. And I go, no, my mama is Joe and my daddy is Shirley. And they would go, would you like to go to the office? And I said, yes, ma'am, I would, because it would be better than this class. And so that's how it all started off. All right. Ooh, Denise says she uses both of those frequently. Cool. All right, Denise, you got, look at that. See, I should have just asked you. Have you always been introverted? John Robert Small says. You know, John Robert Small, I'm going to answer that question. The truth is, hold it. Watch this. Watch it. He's going to get serious. Here he goes. The truth is, I am an introvert. Yes. But I'm an introvert 4 on the Enneagram scale who loves to perform and step out and take chances and have an artistic world. But I perform that in circles where I need to do that. And then I am completely happy being in my blacksmith shop and just working on something for hours and going like, where'd the day go? And I've spent my time on a $2.99 toy trying to rebuild a mainspring. So yes, I really am more introverted than you even think. It's taken a couple doctors, not psychiatric help. Maybe some of you say he can use it, but it's taken me a long time to feel confident that I love the quietness. I love the simple. It's why I can go sit down and paint. It's why you can go plant flowers. It's why you can wait on a coffee bean to grow. Okay? It's why you you boil the water, you pour it in, and it's why you just sit there and wait until it steeps before you sip it. I, but when that sound comes on, when I hear this, it's time to sell a rooster. I can bring it on because I grew up with music, and then I realized that music had to go somewhere, and that has to create a performance. And so I didn't mind being a little foolish or being seen silly or making a fool of myself to go out there and branch out a little bit. Same thing with art. At some point in time, you have to say, I got to get my art out of the page and get your art on a wall. Is why that works. So you say that in tongue in cheek, but I really am kind of an introverted person. The rest of the day, I could go the rest of the day without saying a word to another person. However, I have a lunch scheduled today, so I'll go meet with that. And we have guests coming to our home tonight, so I'll visit with them because we love them very much. So there you go. Good question, though, man. So, Rue, can you ask to try out paints the same way you ask pens? Yes, you can. And here's why you develop a relationship with an art store near you if you have one, or go try that. You can. The other thing is, don't ever buy the biggest tube in the shop. Buy a tube that only costs you $7 or $8, and then just keep it somewhere. Or the next year, if you realize you didn't open it and use it, donate it to an art class or an art school. Those kids will put it to use somewhere. They'll love that color. Or you guys could get into the thing of saying, I do not like this color. I'd like to sell it for $5. Okay. Or sell it for $3, or you pay the postage and get me some of my money back. Or we all want to trade colors. We can do that sometimes. So I try colors sporadically. Look, for 10 years, I've basically painted with 4 colors: Gamboge, Joe's Red, Ultramarine Blue, a little bit of a green, either a sap green or a spring green mixed. So I'm adding a color, but I'll make my orange, I'll make my browns, then I started saying, okay, because I'm doing a painting show, I don't have time for you guys to watch me mix up all the colors. And so, or I keep a messy palette like this, which, I'm sorry, I'm talking and you're not even seeing it. I'm so sorry. You got me carried away here. So these colors that I'm pointing at are here: Gamboge, Joe's Red. This probably has a little bit of Red Hot Mama, Joe's Red in there. Sometimes I mix the reds. There are about 3 reds that I mix. This is going to be called Rue Head Red when I'm done with it. I'd like to get them all to 3. Terry Tardy Turquoise, Rue Head Red, Rue Honey Blue. I don't know. I'm just making all this up as I go. Passionately Purple, please. And so I still like blacker on the inside of a cow, darker on the inside of a cow. I think that's going to be my black. Orange, it will be, I went to University of Tennessee for almost a whole quarter, so I'll probably get to UT in there some way. UTO will be UT Orange. So anyway, what I do is, maybe y'all should share colors, because sometimes I work in this. I don't want to mix colors up and waste all my time. Of course, I'm not painting today anyway. I'm just talking. Here we go. I'm going to paint something for you. I promise you simple instruction. I promise you small today. So here is Bordeaux. Don't worry about being silly in your art. Make something silly every now and then. I'm going to put this on the floor. I'm going to put the anvil on the page so it doesn't turn over and get too wet. And then I had one question, pronounced quinachrone. Is that good? Lisa's got the pronunciation. And Joe Miller folks told me how to pronounce it 5 times, but I said, well, I'm from East Tennessee. It looks like quiche to me. Okay. quinacridone gold, quinacridone gold. Um, Daniel Smith, yes, Daniel Smith makes a lot of those paints, and about 8 years ago, Joe Miller just sent me a box of 4 little quinacridone colors. One of those was Lucky Penny, which I still use today. I have some right here in this palette. All right. All right, Beverly Schmidt. I want to know this story sometime. Your grandfather was named Church, and my great grandfather was named Noah Flood. Woo-hoo-hoo! Is your blacksmith shop in your backyard? It can be. Because I live in a neighborhood and because I respect some neighborhood regulations, I can't have a shop out where we live right now. We live in this house because it was sort of the house that we were supposed to live in for my son to go to high school, where he did when we moved to Charlotte. And it's a big old house that was built in '89, but we've done a lot of work on it. Still got to do some work to it. It's a maintenance thing like everything else. But the point is this: I can't have a shop set out there that's a separate shop like I did when I lived in the Western Mountains. So now I have one garage bay that a quarter of that garage bay holds a lot of my blacksmithing in one little section. And my anvil is on a stump, but it's on a track of wheels. And my forge now is gas and not coal. And so in about 20 minutes, I can have everything up in the forge already burning. And then I've got a post vise that slides out on a piece I welded. So in a matter of minutes, and it's been great. I didn't know how good it was going to be because local schools now can bring their 3rd and 4th graders over, and they can sit in my back area, which faces some woods, and they sit on a little wall, and I put down tarps for them to sit on the driveway, and then I'll do demonstrations for blacksmithing there. So everything just rolls out on wheels. So that's kind of nice. So it doesn't take me long to get in. But I keep the blacksmith shop close by. Okay? All right. Hey, so let's talk about painting small this morning. And I'm talking about real small. In my pocket here, I'm reaching down into my vest pocket. Can you see there? And I keep my cards in there of just little bitty cards that I do my Roosters on. I do my business cards on. But and then painting with what you have. So here it is. I generally carry these around. These are watercolor paper. These are a medium grade watercolor paper. They're not my Kilimanjaro paper. Sometimes they're a Strathmore. Sometimes they are fluid paper, fluid 100. Sometimes they're just fluid paper. And so I cut them in 3x3 squares. But let me show you this. I'm going to come down on this just a little bit here. Watch this. I'm going to go down here just a little closer so you can see what I'm doing. I think that'll help. Let me lay something here to focus on. Let me see if it'll focus on that little pencil right there. Nah, it needs a little better shot than that. Let me see this. Get this out of the way. Let's refocus. Too shiny. See if it'll focus on the clothespin. No. That's better. Nope, that's not. Golly. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to push this camera a little bit this morning. Okay, there we go. That'll help you. All right, so look. All right, listen up just for a second here. All right, so there's my little piece of paper. It's 3x3, okay? Take a look. Tiny, simple, and small. 3x3. There it is right there. And paint with what you have. So I have this little card. Let's say I'm out and about. I've got whatever I've got laying on the desk. But this morning, when I reached down to leave a little note on the counter, I saw this pen. And it's just a simple little, probably a 45-cent ink pen from, it says the Luxury Collection, but I know exactly where this pen came from and why it was in that drawer, because I spoke at a conference, or I did some music for a little conference at the Ballantine Lodge, which is a little, very quaint little place near us, a very nice place actually. And so they had pads on the table and everybody, and so people would be having the evening, and I'd write little introduction songs and do them for them. And so I kept this little pen. So I want to show you just how to do a piece of art Simple, small, with just a regular ballpoint pen, which you know in 248 days, I've never done a piece of art for you with a ballpoint pen, and I may not today. But I've been working on birds, right? I've been painting birds, and I'm following my own. I painted a roo this morning. I'm not going to stop painting roos. I'm roo. They're roosters. They're the storytellers. But birds, it gave me an idea for a painting, but I hope this pen writes. There it is. Just checked it. It writes. Okay. So I'm going to use this pen and do a little birdie, okay, with this pen. Because I've been painting, and I'll tell you, if you want to learn how to paint something, paint it 50 times. Paint it 50 times, okay? All right, so I'm going to slide on up here. Okay, here we go. So a little baby bird. Let's see, he's going to have a little beak like this. Going to come down. See there? There's his little beak right there, okay? Then I'm just going to start just doing little baby birds. I'm going to start doing just some little squiggles here. Just these little squiggles. Little squiggles like this. This probably needs some little squiggle music, but I didn't put any on. I'll put some on here in a second. Notice I'm going one side and then the other. Can you see what I'm doing? I'm just going one side and the other. Why am I doing that? Because I'm sort of balancing out the way I want this little birdie to look. And then I'm going to do his little feet right here like this. And I'll do another one just kind of going this direction. Like that right there. So there's this little birdie right there. Another little foot. And then birds have these little claws that stick up. I've been watching them this week. And then I'm going to go right here. And I'm going to do a little round eye. There it is right there. Kind of just in line with his beak or just right at the top of the beak. And then I'm going to just put a little bit of like two little, if you were a math teacher, you'd say greater than or less than. I just put two little symbols there around the eye. Look at that. You need to learn how to do eyes because the eye is important to the soul, okay? So then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my pen and I'm going to fill in some of that eye and leave a little white. Don't go with a black eye and then try to put white in it afterwards. Let the holiday be the eye. Did he sound dogmatic? Did that introverted guy just step out and say, don't do something? I'm just saying it'll help you if you let the holiday, the paper, shine through and be the eye. Okay? And then we're going to let some little other eye parts come in here. And this may be a little scratch here. And this is the little birdie that's just got wispy hair, wispy eyes. He's, see if I can, I'm going to try one more focus on him here. Let's see if I can get him this is hard to focus on something this small with this camera. That's a little better. Not much. I'm going to leave that little symbol up there. See where it says hide over there? That's my little focus button on that camera. So I'm just going to leave it there for a second in case I notice it is out. I'm going to reach in. Okay, so I'm going to say this is a little baby bluebird. I'm going to say that. I just said it. Isn't it weird how we talk sometimes? I'm going to say means I said this is a baby bluebird. It could be anything, but I'm going to show you another one that I did later. Okay, so now I'm just putting I'm going back and forth. And I put him in the center of the page. That's probably not the best place. He's looking off to my left. Okay, so here's what I'm doing. Just a little pin here. Look at this. And then, and I want some wispy, just some really little wispy pieces that just kind of jump up here like this. So, and then maybe a little bit of a tail starting right here. And he's just got some little marks in there like his tail's starting to come out. And there's this first part of the little wing starting right there, okay? Beef these feet up just a little bit. Quiet in here, no music, and I'm not talking. Okay, so there we go. So that's with a luxury ballpoint pen. And you're going like, hey, that's not too bad. So what if I took a pencil? Here's a General's layout pencil, 555, one that I stole from my daughter. And what if I just came in here and made some little marks with this pencil? Look at this. And you're saying, well, I can't even see it really, but watch. And I'm going to rub that pencil with, use what you have sometimes. I could have probably painted this on, I did paint one this morning on copy paper for you. All right. Maybe this needs a little bit of dark right in here where the wing is, so I can slide my finger in there and pump that out. See, he's getting a little feel, but see what this, All right, this pintail is blue. I have no idea. It's a fine point pintail. It says RSVP. This is probably a pen that was given in some sort of little, hey, we need your signature today. But I kind of like it because it's blue. So I'm going to do these little blue wispy, furry, wispy, furry, feathery, whatever they are up there with it. Right in there. Some. I think I'm going to go use a little watercolor on this paper too. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so you can see where he's going so far. Can you see that? All right. I'm going to give you a really close-up shot here and see if you can see it a little better here. Let's see if we can focus on it. It's a little grainy because I'm asking this camera to do a lot. Okay. Now I'm going to just go get a little brush. Look at this brush. I bought this brush this week to go in my bug out bag. These are the size of most of my American Journey brushes. This is a size 0. This is a little 4, which I have a 4 sitting right here somewhere. That's a 3. Is this a 4? 3. Come on. Give me a 4. 3. I must like 3s. 7. Are you kidding me? Do I not have a 4? Pfft. Oh, well. There's a 4. Okay, take a look. This is the normal, this is the normal 4. Right here it is in front of my shirt. Can you see it right there? That's the normal 4 in my pocket. And here's the other one. Okay, you can't see, it's too far away. This will give you an idea. There they are sitting together. Take a look. The ends of them are together. So there you see a normal 4 and the little travel brush 4. So if you have small hands, you don't want a big old brush to stick out of your bag. I bought these to just throw down my little bag. Look, I keep painting supplies with me all the cotton picking time. You guys know that about me, right? Because I'm an introvert. All right, so I'm going to get a little water in this brush. I'm going to go over here and just pick up a little bit of this blue. And I don't want too much blue in there. So look, I just did a spot. See that? I did 3 spots, and then I'm just going to go back and clean out this brush. And now I've just got a little bit of a wet brush, and I'm going to go back here and just put a little bit of blue in there like that, just a touch. I'm going to need a tad more than that, though. But you can always add paint. Don't start with too much. And then I'm going to go get a little bit of blue just on the tail right here, and then maybe a little stripe right there. Now that's pretty heavy looking. Watch, wet brush, no pigment in it. Just taking this and moving this paint around. Okay, I'm thinking this might be a good place for this new color. Here it is right here, this buff titanium. Right there it is. I'm just going to go get a little bit of this buff titanium. Just a little wet brush. Get it on my brush right there. That's probably enough to do the whole bird with. I'm going to come in right here. There's my little birdie. And I'm just going to start giving him a little touch of this buff right here. But I think he needs some of that gold here. Maybe I bought these 2 colors for bluebirds and didn't even know it. Oh, it's perfect. Look at that. Too much. Let's go get some out. There we go. Go back in with some. Do that several times. And now I think I'm going to put a little bit. There's some black in the beak, I think. There's 2 ways to do that. One is use black paint. The other is just go in with a little bit of a fountain pen and just maybe touch it right here on this side. Then I'm going to go in here and just catch a little bit of this. You've never seen me paint this slow and this careful, but just to prove to you that I don't throw paint all the time. Now I want a little touch of yellow back here because birds have a little bit of yellow when they're first born. Their beak hasn't come into its true color yet. I believe these legs should have a little bit of pinkish look to them. So I'm mixing a little bit of pink, pink orange over here. Pink, orange, yellow. There it is right there. Maybe just a touch of that right up here in the eye. Touching it with my finger. All right, so I suddenly have this little birdie. Bird's got more fluff than the new stemless bill, John Robert Small says. Your painting is off camera. Yes, I know it. It doesn't take me long to get it off camera when I'm painting. So sorry about that. All right, so there he is. And let me go back out just a little bit so it'll focus just a little bit better on you. And you can see the actual size of this painting. It is tiny. All right, so there it is right there. So it's a little 3x3 bluebird. And let me show you what some of those look when I play around with it a little bit. what I do then is I'd probably come in with this little brush, maybe even a smaller brush. This is a number zero. If there's a number zero, it's called a number zero. Where's my little fine tip flare? The reason I could just reach over, and here, listen to me, simple and small today. Use what you have laying here, but know what your tools are. And by the way, I've seen pictures this week already of some of you who have grabbed some great paper from Cheap Joe's, some Kilimanjaro, look, you can paint on notebook paper, but why would you when you could save your money and come up with something? Look, when I was making my making my coffee this morning, I painted on a piece of 24-pound copy paper. There it is right there. Okay? I kind of like this little birdie, but, and you know what? Somebody would love to have this little birdie. I like this one a little better because the colors are richer. Could I get some of that out of there if I wanted to? Watch this. I'm going to take some clean water, drop it in right there, wet that again, take a clean paper towel. Just back some of that out. Okay? Too much blue? Get some of it out. Okay, so there's my little birdie right there. And then what I've done is I've just put a little bit of that pen down here. What I was going to say about getting good tools is experiment with your tools enough so that you know what you have in your arsenal. So you can say, oh man, if I had this color, I could do that. Or if I could make that color. Or maybe I should go get such and such. Why did I put a little bit of purple underneath there? Because some shadows in life, when you see them, they look kind of purple to me. They have a lot of purple and blue in them. Shadows aren't just all black and brown. So what would make this painting kind of pop is if I went and got just a little bit of blue in this zero brush and then just did some little splatters around it right here like this. There we go. And then what I do is, maybe because I use this pen, I just come back in and I'm going to sign it with this pen, Roo, right there. So there's my little bluebird for your windowsill. Bingo. Is that cool or what? All right. Here's what I'll do. I'll give that little bluebird away this morning. So I dip my brush in my coffee. Yeah, you know what? I've done it so many times. I have had so much. I have probably drunk a tube of this paint. You're okay. So all right. So let me paint another one here. Let me show you some of the birds that I've been working on. I thought you'd get a kick out of those this morning. Name him Midge. Midge. All right. June Jones says $6. June, that is funny. I love your wit. For those of you who were not on the show, okay. So June, by golly, $6 it is. All right. No, I'll send you that postage. No worries. How do you protect your brushes in your carryout bag? Sometimes I don't. That's why I use shorter brushes. But I also am careful about, I just don't pile them in there and pile things on them. And sometimes in my carryout bag, I don't have to have my pristine brushes. If I have really beautiful new brushes like this number 4 right here that's just in pristine shape, I might take an older 4 or a 3 that's got a little frazzle to it already. Sometimes I take an aqua brush out, and I'm going to be showing you about aqua brushes a little sooner. I'm getting some new ones of those in, and we're gonna show you those. But let me show you some of the birds that I've been painting. That's a great question, though, about protecting your brushes. Sometimes you put them in a little tighter thing. Sometimes you roll them up in just a little bit of something that keeps them from sliding. I don't like to carry. What I don't like to do is in my bug out bag is I don't like to have so much stuff in there that it's like, good grief, this feels like my desk. I just want to go with 2 pens, a brush. This brush right here was given to me by Irma. And take a look at this brush, okay? And you're going like, yeah, fine looking brush. It doesn't have an end on it, but look, it opens up like this, pop, turns around. I can paint that bluebird with that brush right there, okay? And this is metal? I think it's just plastic made to look like metal, but it's cool. Okay. And I have another one of these that's made by Winsor Newton, but this is just a little, probably about a number 2 brush, and it fits inside here like this. And then the case goes on, boop, goes in my pocket. And that's in my pocket all the time with my little uh, tin of paints. And in this case, I have this one with me this morning. So look at that. With some paper, I'm ready to go, and a pen. And I always have a pen in my pocket. So my bug out bag doesn't have to put everything I have at my desk on it. Remember, it's just a quick necessity to get you up and painting. All right? Bob says 33. Jason says, love your metal shrimp you showed one day. What are the minimum tools needed to make something like that? Well, for me to make that is I use a vise, a hammer. I have a welder. I actually created a small forge, but I could use my big forge to forge down the legs out of, and I used small pieces of wire, but I hammered those legs so they would look like the jointed legs of a shrimp. You know how animals have those joints that there's a big part and it cuts small and it gets large again? I wanted those undulations. I wanted those dents in the legs. So I created a small little brick forge to do that with. So I just put the wires in there and hit them on the edge of my anvil with a sharp hammer edge. So that's part of the blacksmithing process and I'll tell you, the art sketching has helped me with my 3D work too, when I make a 3D thing. But I wound up cutting the shapes. I wound up sketching the shrimp and looking at it and thinking, wow, if I took this piece, here, let me show you. That's a good question. Look at this. Here's a piece of scrap paper right here. Okay, pretend that's the shrimp's body right there, okay? So if I lay this on the vise and I bend it, if I bend this like so, I need a stick that I made out of paint. Here's one right here. And I take my tool and I bend it. In this case, I'll lay it between the vise and I'll strike it with the hammer. And I can cold bend some of this. If I'm using thicker steel, I might want to heat this. And then just tap in. Pow, 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 pow. So here's what I'm coming up with. Look. So when I tap this around and I keep turning it around and I keep working with it and I keep working with it, eventually because it's steel, it's going to go where I want it. And look what I've come up with. I've come up with one of the sections of the shrimp. And maybe it's the section here. So what I found out right away was, wow, you know what you need? You need this section to be cut away like this. And you need this section to be cut away like this. And then you need these angles to be sharper. So, Jason, you would understand this in your design. When you're designing a building or you're designing architectural, you're going to need it to look like that. Now I have the side of the shrimp. And then I can put his legs up in there. So I will, and then I'll take the next section, and let's say we'll make it like this. So I wind up cutting my business cards, or a lot of cardboard, into shapes and fit them together. And I look at them, and then I go, ooh, look at that. That piece should go in here. So that means this has to be bent down like this. Working with cardboard is harder than working with metal sometimes. So I put a bend in the metal like this, and I'll shape this on around so it'll come down. And then I can put these two together. So I have the first part of my shrimp body coming together like this. Fun thing to do. Good question, man. Thanks. Design people. I love it. I love it. Ow! By the way, I'm going to tell you one of the most dangerous things in your brush caddy is this right here. I have 2 cuts on my hand right now and a puncture wound right there from this baby. But if I put it down like this, it rests on its point. So I don't really have a good place to put it. I can't get this out of here. So, but it's frustrating the stew out of me because that's the 3rd time I stuck it in my hand. Let me show you some of these birds on a Saturday morning. Here they are right here. I told you when you want to learn to paint something. I've probably painted 5,000 roosters. I love their whimsical ability. I love their storytelling ability. I love what happens. So here's what I like to do. I got to put this top back on this pen. Rats. Oh, there it is. Okay, that's a good fountain pen. I want to keep it that way. So this is a Kilimanjaro sketchbook, which I really haven't been using, except there is one painting in here. Here's the little birdie that I just did. There he is on a black background. He is fuzzy. So look here. Here's a couple. This is bugs. Here's one I did last night with the grandkids. Take a look. Are you a bluebird too? So this has just been done with pencil and a little touch of paint. There's a little bluebird painting. So I promise when I said do 50 of something, you'll get better. I'm in the 40 range now, and my birds are changing. They're changing. Watch it. I'm going to show you how they're changing. Take a look. Wait, let me show you. I'm answering some questions this morning. Why do I paint in these little inexpensive drawing paper books? There are 24 sheets in here. It's 4x6. It's 80 pound. It'll hold some watercolor. It's a little off white. I wish this were stark white, but it's not because my colors pop a little more. But remember, it teaches me to use less amounts of water to keep from crinkling the paper. It will help me use less color sometimes, but also if I mess up one of these pages, okay, and I draw something that I really don't like, and I sketch it around like this little bunny here that I did, okay, and I really don't like that little bunny. It's easy for me just to do this and go, I'm done, okay? I didn't throw away a piece of my expensive art watercolor paper. Sometimes you do, even though I kind of have a rule that says hold on to it. But you know what? So now I keep this in my bag, and I'll just sketch an idea. And I go, ooh, there's a little bird that did this. I had no idea that bird stood that way. So I'll use that. So here's some of the birds that I've been using on this paper. There's a little nuthatch that I did. Here's a little first attempt at a robin with a fountain pen. There's another little nuthatch throwing paint. Here's my little when the man comes to town, when the man comes to town. Here's the red bird that I love. In fact, he's suitable for framing, even on this colored paper. I like him very much. Here's my little hummingbirds. What are those words to that song? Really? You'd ask a hummingbird what the words are? Come on. Here's Thistle While You Work. Some of you have seen these. Why did I paint this little birdie right here? Because I spent 20 minutes putting up a new thistle cedar, filling it up and hanging it so that the goldfinches will start to come in. This is a little wren. And look, I'm just learning to paint a wren in a different way. This is probably a little heavy in the paint, but I'm getting there, okay? I'm working toward it. Here's a little bluebird. He's too stiff. He's not loose enough for me. There's not enough holidays, but I learned something from this. Here's a cardinal that's looking up. His eye's a little funky, but he says, wire, W-I-R-E, why are you holding me up? Here's a blue jay that's really rough, but it gives me the idea of how his head sort of looks like the cardinal, his tail sweep. And he's talking to two bugs here. And the two bugs really are in control of the conversation. And they say, yeah, there were three of us. No thanks to you. There's one, two little bugs there. So you see those. Here's a little bird that says, hey, look, it's one of those little yellow, blue, green birds. This is a bug. This is a bird. This would be a little chickadee, or chickadee, or Carolina wren, Carolina nuthatch, Carolina chickadee, towhee. He's talking to one little bird right there, one little bug right there. That little bug is right at the end of my brush right there. Tiny little bug. And he says, you might want to be known as the brown, more-rated Hymorphia halis, but you're just a stink bug to me, scram. And that's the technical name for a stink bug. So I had to go to my 1961 encyclopedias. I love this little painting right here. It's a wren walking off, but her two little babies are behind her. And it says, you two better not be playing with your food. And above their heads, you see all these little spots like bugs flying up in the air. So once again, Badeau, I'm being silly in the process. Here is where I quoted Atticus Finch. Shoot all the blue jays you want, said Finch, but it's a sin to kill a mockingbird. Then I thought I should paint a mockingbird. So here's my mockingbird, which caption says, today I'm going to come up with something original. How do you think like an artist? I've been talking about this on all my classes. How do those classes start? How do you think like an artist? You put your spin on it. That's your voice that nobody else has. That's how you do it. Here is a female cardinal. She's a little blue-yellow, brownish. I'm sagging a bit, she's saying, okay? Here's a hummingbird. Says, I saw it first. They're very territorial, okay? Here's another hummingbird that's turned this way, and he's in flight. Here's a little wren that says, stop your belly aching, you give me heartburn. He's standing on the leg of a grasshopper. Here's a bedhead. See his hair, and he's got on sunglasses. This is a little who knows what bird. Just felt like throwing the red paint in there. This is a cardinal that I kind of like. And I stopped right there. But that's not all. There's more, he says. There's more. In the last few minutes, I'll show you more here. All right, so it's been a simple morning. Take a look. And so this is the big paper. How about tea at 4? I'll bring the honey. Consider the birds. When I ran away to join the circus, there's that painting again. I love this painting. I'll keep painting this painting until I have it down like my roosters. The discipline of this is one of the things that an introvert can do. Okay? Your mom's right. You're safe. I eat mealworms. There's a bird having a conversation with a ladybug. I like this painting. Here's two that says, two little wrens on a small piece that says, let's go buzz a few ants. Okay? Here's when I ran away to join the circus. I told you I'll paint this probably 10, 15, 20 times maybe. I'll give you to the count of 10 a little, maybe this is a wren, but this is a fairy wren, and it's from Australia. So that's why you get the orange and the blue tail. And he's given this one. Here's a little chickadee. Here's another one. That's what friends are. Hey, it's what friends are for. Here's a red bird that just has this crazy face that I can't wait till the caption, he says something. Here's happy bird day to me. And that's not a bird, that's a bee. That go together, some people say. All right, so look at these birds right here. Let me show you the birds that I was painting last night before I rudely interrupted myself. Here's this little bird. I painted all these yesterday while I was waiting on the grandkids. There's a little bluebird. Are you a bluebird too? He's a bluebird. He doesn't know B from a bluebird. Here's one I just started in pencil. Look at him. Here's not one. Here's another one. Here's one with a lot of color in him. See him? This is a little wren, like all puffed up, saying, get out of my face. Here is a wren that says, Wren, is it my turn? Here's Wren I survey. Here's Wren you wish. Here's another one of those. Look at that little wren on the stroll. This may be my favorite right here so far. And thank you very much. There's a little wren in the yard the other day, and he was getting ready to bend over and get a little piece of bread that we threw out there. And there's ants and worms and all kinds of stuff out there. And it looked like he was bowing, saying, thank you very much. This is just a little picture, painted a picture of a picture that I saw of the bird that wasn't finished, and I liked it. So I did this sort of a robin. It says, when the red rob put a sock in it, I'm black and orange. And here's one that says, two bees say about this cardinal, uh-oh, back off. He sees his reflection. And this is one that there's this wren, bigger piece of paper. This is 140-pound Kilimanjaro. It's just in a smaller paint book. And the bee, and they're talking. I'd like to do these conversations in my stories. And so these are the little sow bugs. You might call them peel bugs. You might call them little roly-polies where you grew up. He says, I'm going to need a bit more honey for these maybe I should say sour bugs. So he's telling the bee, hey, you can help me with my lunch if you brought me a little more honey. So that's it so far. That's all the bugs or the birds and the bees that I painted so far. And I don't know what I'm going to do with all of them yet, but I'll probably have a bird sale one of these days. I am sending several to Libby at the Gardener's Cottage in Asheville, North Carolina, where the little birds are, the little concrete birds. And she's going to send me some new concrete birds, and I'm going to give those away to some of you guys. Hey, I appreciate you wrapping up your little bird, send an original bird with it. And that's what kind of got me started on this. Those little birds that day, I was in there going like, I should be painting some birds too, because birds are just too cool. Consider the birds. Okay? All right. And Pat says, yes, brushes do come with a plastic tube that you can slide over that's why Pat is brilliant. That's why Pat is an orchestrated project manager person. Brushes do come with a little cap like this. There's one right there that you can slide your brush right in like so. Carefully how you do it. Zip. And there it is right there. And you can travel with that brush. Look, see it? There it is. It's not going to ding up the end. I can drop it like this, and it just slides right off. So art stores can get you some of these if you want them. And if you have a hard time getting the brush in there, just wet it a little bit. Water's not going to hurt it, and that'll make all the bristles stick together. Then you can slide it in. So there's a little way to do it. Pat reminded me, she just said it. Okay. Small iPad bags out there, perfect for art supplies. Yes, there are. Lauren, thank you for knowing that's out there. I do my bag with a rooster head on it, and some of those are on the website. They are off right now. They're printed. I think I may have 25 or 30 of those bags, and they're going to be put back into first of the week. I will have those in my hand and ready to ship back to you. So that's the bug out bag that has Roo. We're bugging out on it. The mugs are back ordered. The Roo mugs are back ordered, and so they're not back here yet. And it's after 10 o'clock, and I got to go have a lunch and drive north. I've been trying, let's see, 3x3. Been painting on tiny art, 3x3. Tiny art is so fantastic. Wow, you guys are piling on the show. Thanks for liking my show. I'm into 1 of 50 giraffe sketches, Jason says. That Cardinal's belly, Lauren says. Why the bunny? I liked him. Not the bunny. He tossed the bunny. I tossed the bunny. Wait, I have one more bunny. Hold it. Where is he? I have another bunny somewhere. I have all kinds of. Here's what I do with these pieces of paper, just as the show runs long. Here's all the crabs, the shrimp. All of those are fun little pieces of sketch. This may be it right here. Look at this. There's a crab in there. There's one. There's a bunny right there. I kept this bunny because I like him. His face to me is Bordeaux. It's silly. It's French silly. And here's a little Roo. This one's probably, there's a dandelion that I did that day. There's a beet. This is a carrot. It says, can you carrot over here? This is what's for lunch? Beats me. 2 little peeps running. By the way, baby birds are like drawing peeps for me, so I have a little practice in that. And then this is, it's not celery, it's anemic rhubarb. So these have been great for me to just have throwaway in. So that's why I tossed the bunny. I didn't like the other one. Could have gotten $10 for that rabbit. Yeah, but no. I love the bunny. Whoa, you guys are crazy. All right. Hey, thank you for being on the show. Thanks for liking the show. Thanks for sharing this show. I will see you guys, Lord willing, Monday morning. And let me do this. Let me just do this. I'm just making sure I'm scrolling all the way down to the bottom and the top and back up. And wait, I missed a movement. Hold it 1 second. There it comes right there. And then back over. I just see it kind of go by. I'm not reading any names. I can't read those anyway until I lean way over and see them closely. So I don't even know whose names are popping up there. So I'm just going back and forth, and then I give it one little spin, and I'll look in, and I see this person right here, Virginia McClure. Virginia McClure. If you're still on the show, Virginia McClure, send me an email at roodoodles@gmail.com, roodoodles@gmail.com, and I'll send you this little baby bluebird right here. Okay? Virginia McClure. Okay? Send me roodoodles@gmail.com. That's the name I see on this. I also see Kimberly Nash on that. So our morning mama. So there we go. All right. McClure. Virginia McClure, send me an email at roodoodles@gmail.com and I'll send you this. So there you go. All right. Hey, thanks for saying hello. Thanks for being on the show. Have a great Saturday. It's beautiful here in the Southeast. I'm in Charlotte and got a busy day today. I've got to cut my grass or I'm going to have to buy cows or goats. So it's time. And venture out. Wear a mask if you have to, but get out there and see some people. Loosen up a little bit and make art, okay? Pick up your cup. Have a sip. Think of 2 people. The first one that came to mind, send them a note. Maybe you send 2 notes this morning. If you want to, give them away a piece of art. All right, blessings on you guys. I appreciate you much. This has been so much fun. Hope to have news soon on Noodle Doodle Fiddle Piddle, the book. Thanks for subscribing to my email list. And I'm going to be changing my YouTube channel around. So I post a lot of this on YouTube. So it's going over there. So some of you can subscribe to YouTube. So when I put things up, and I'm going to do my storytelling thing on there later. I'm thinking about what I'm going to do in May for a class. And of course, I'm going to paint more than I paint on this show sometimes. Saturday mornings, I just have a free-for-all. Paint small today. Paint simple today. And just paint with what you have today. And you will be impressed with what you learn. All right? I'm out of here like a herd of turtles. Appreciate you all. Blessings. Paint goats. It's not happening. They have too many legs, Linda. Okay, I'm gone.